So our app correctly shows a list of the days in the week, but I don't know, it's pretty boring right now. Let's see if we can't spice this up a little bit, right? So I think it'd be pretty cool as a start if we at least somehow indicated what the current day was. So for example, if today was Wednesday, maybe Wednesday should be at the top of the list, and then Thursday next, Friday next, and so on. So the top value of the list should be the current day. So the first thing that we'll need to do to make this happen is to figure out what the current day of the week is. We could probably use some vanilla JavaScript, be really clever about it, and figure out what the current day of the week is. But I'll be totally honest with you, I'm a pretty lazy guy, and I don't really want to do any hard work myself. Hopefully you're the same way too. So let's go ahead and find someone else who has already solved this problem for us. Luckily, someone has. So in my browser window, I'm going to search for Moment.js and go to their homepage right here. So Moment.js is really just a fantastic open source library that does a fantastic job of just about everything time related that you could possibly imagine. You can see that we've got all the different, I'm looking at the documentation here, and there's a lot of different helper functions in here for doing just about everything you could possibly imagine. We can get the current date, we can format it, we can look up a duration, we can get the current time and then say add 7 days to it and then subtract a month if for some crazy reason you decided to do that. So chances are if we install this Moment library, we should be able to use it to figure out what the current day of the week is. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. So whenever we are using code or third-party libraries with React Native, we always have the option to just kind of drag and paste in a raw JavaScript file. But that's not really super ideal because managing dependencies can be a little bit challenging that way, right? Let's say that I want to install 20 different libraries, and maybe I want to always be sure that I'm installing the correct version of that library. Well, rather than dropping in a raw JavaScript file into my project, I'm instead going to use a dependency management system called NPM.js. So NPM modules, or NPM.js, are libraries of code that are authored by other engineers that we can install and make use of in our project. React Native itself, which we're already using, is actually installed as an NPM module. So at this point, we've actually already been using it. We're going to install NPM, or excuse me, we're going to use NPM to install Moment.js. And believe it or not, it's going to be just ridiculously easy. So I'm going to first open up my terminal, and then I'm going to get a new window right here, and I'm still inside of my weekdays directory. I'll just go ahead and write npm install -- save and then moment. So what this does is it reaches out to the npm registry and it installs the latest version of moment.js for us. We can now make use of this installed npm module in the exact same way as we make use of React Native up here at the top by requiring it into this file. So at the very top, we'll add another line that says var moment equals require moment. Remember, because Moment is a third-party installed library, we don't have to provide the exact directory to it, right? We can just make reference to the library name itself as Moment. Now there's one last little step here that we need to do before we can make use of Moment, and that is to restart our npm start process over here. So I'm going to end it by hitting Control-C, and then I'll run npm start again. And this is just to get the packager, the React Native packager, to realize that, hey, we just installed a new version of, or excuse me, a new npm module. Cool. So now that we have Moment, let's make sure that it's behaving the way we expect. We're going to add a new curly brace to our function inside of a text tag. So we'll say text, and then text, and we'll say, we're going to make reference to a JavaScript variable here. So we will lead off with our curly braces, and then we'll say moment and call it dot format and then DDD. So we make use of moment by calling it as though it were a function, and then we will call some additional property on it. In our case, we want just to get the current date and to make sure it's working, so we're just going to call the helper function format and get a abbreviated date here. So let's go ahead and save this, and we'll refresh in the simulator. And sure enough, at the top, here's our 3-letter abbreviation for the current day, which is what happens when we pass DDD. So we have current day of the week for me, recording this on a Saturday, so it displays just SAT. Cool. So now that we know that this is working, let's go ahead and delete the extra text element at the top of the page, because we won't be needing this anymore for the final version of the app. So I'll take that out. Great. And we'll take out the existing moment call right here. Great. So all we're ended up with is a simple view tag, and inside of it is a list of the days of the week. I'm going to save this, we'll refresh, and great. We've just got this here. So now that we know that moment is working, let's continue in the next section.